This is the Troll Patrol. Live. With Justin Freakin.
Welcome to the Troll Patrol. Live. It's a freaking Sunday. The freaking Sunday where earlier I did a voiceover for a video about sexual harassment. And the entire time I couldn't help but think, like, what if somebody, like, listens to my stream and they're in that room, they'll be like, hey, that's the guy that talks about pissing in Dan Crenshaw's eye pussy, telling us about sexual harassment. I'm the last person that should be giving a voiceover for a sexual harassment video. I was accused of harassment one time. I think they just assumed it at college. I think they assumed it was sexual. The truth of the matter was that she and I were talking, and she couldn't get over my atheistism. Atheism. What the fuck? God, I'm not high enough for this ship. So after she decided like that was a deal breaker, I started treating her like everyone else and teasing her about God. And I think she went to the department, and I probably did like become a little more mean about it. The Britad. His eye is trans. Oh, because it's a pussy. Identifying as a male, I guess. We're going to talk about some trans issues tonight, unfortunately. The bigotry is out in full force. Bill Maher had Riley Gaines on his Club Random podcast. Truly random. What in the fuck is that show even about? Whoever will get him views on YouTube, which, who am I to fucking begrudge him? But Riley Gaines went on there, apparently talking about how Leah Thomas has a really nice girl dick. Speaking of people with really nice dicks, Vivek Siswami, I'm probably fucking his name up. I don't think he has a nice dick. I'm not sure. I haven't checked. If he'd let me, I probably would check. But no, Vivek Siswami, Republican presidential primary contender, says that the Ukraine war was started because of Hunter Biden's dick. There you go. There's the nice dick reference. Finally, I got to it. It was a tortured... It was a tortured path I took to get there. So, anybody watch SummerSlam last night? I watched SummerSlam last night. This is a meme. You're going to have to be a part of two different fandoms in order to understand the meme. But I laughed my ass off when I saw it. So you need to be a wrestling fan. Well, I guess you don't have to be a wrestling fan. You just really have to be a Simpsons fan. If you know what Mr. Burns was yelling, then you know why this fucking meme is funny. Oh, I don't even remember what the baseball player looked, because like, this is way back in the golden era of The Simpsons. Was it like Kurt Schroeder or something? I don't even know baseball player names. Toads, good evening. I thought I told you to shave the sideburns. Main event Jay. Oh, DJ Dub, I didn't tell you. Hey, what's going on, my friend? Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Apparently, a lot of people are pissed off at the finish of the pay-per-view last night. I paid $5 for the NBC app, so I don't give a shit. Who got a really wild? Speaking of hair, Donald Trump is going to tell us about his hair care routine. Tones, I need to like open it on something else or something. So like I was in my YouTube studio over here, and every time I would click on it, it'd be like, oops, something went wrong. So I'm like, I open it from a different browser or something. I'll check it out. I just from Google Chrome and inside the YouTube app where I see all the comments. Also, the comments on YouTube are very, very weird. Sometimes I don't even see them for a few days. I tried it because I really like when my videos get right-wing idiots. Oh my God, I eat it up. So I've got 50 comments on a Matt Walsh video when I wake up. Like, it's going to be a good day. Where's he at? I lost him.
JustinFREAKIN is a formidable voice in the culture.
I know. I don't know why. Like, just it wouldn't. I don't know if maybe because the whole link wasn't there. Like, it was cut off. YouTube is weird. Period. Like in the dashboard I'm looking at, it was cut off. So I'm like, maybe if I go to the video and I open it, but like that was a whole process, and I was like, eh. Not that I don't love you, and I'm sure you sent me something that was worth watching. The Rudy video, though, I spent a lot of time.
You think we're stupid? You think we're fools?
I spent a lot of time making that mouth. I shouldn't have, like, it has gotten maybe 50 views. I spent a lot of time on that video. However, like, overwhelmingly, people have been like, this is cracking me up, and have liked the video. I don't know what causes things to go viral. And I'm talking like it has 50 views across YouTube and TikTok. I don't understand. Like, I don't understand why my Jason Aldean video is still getting like 1,000 views a day, whereas other videos, like, they stall out at 200 or 300. I don't know why Marjorie Taylor Greene showing Hunter Biden's cock to Congress got 9,000 views, and Rudy Giuliani talking about his love of tits got like 200. I don't know. Social media, like, right wingers love to talk about my numbers, but the first thing I will say, I will address this. Any right winger that wants to talk about like my low view count, first of all, if I actually gave a shit about views, I would make some serious changes to this program. But if I was to do that, the stream would lose its essence. First of all, I wouldn't do marijuanas on the stream. Instant demonetization. But you will see a lot of YouTubers talk about CBD, because if you say CBD, you get demonetized. Here I am taking goddamn bong rips on the stream like I'm not high enough for this shit. Yuck, yuck, yuck. So it's almost an instant demonetization to everything I do. And YouTube punishes me in the algorithms for it. And the second thing is I wouldn't cuss. I wouldn't cuss. If I wanted to make money on YouTube, I wouldn't cuss. You can see. Ineligible, limited. It's all my videos, all of them. Ad suitability. So if I actually gave a shit about growing, and I do, I wanna become a bigger streamer. But I'm gonna fucking earn it. I'm gonna do it the hard way. Just by sheer brute fucking talent. And I did. Libertad, you might have noticed, I do purposely blow the smoke at the camera almost every time I exhale. I think you guys probably think that's cool. I don't know. Maybe it's dorky of me. What do I know? I just think it looks like I'm doing a Triple H. Or I'm Goldberg, I'm breathing out the smoke. At some point in time, my plan to grow this show actually is to invest some money into it come the primary and the election season. I'm going to boost posts on the social media. I'm going to actually because that's what they want. Right wingers will often bring up like, oh, I could get more interaction on a post than you do. Start a page and get monetized and shit, and see if you don't get nerfed. You'll get nerfed because they want you to pay. They don't want to give you organic reach. Facebook wants you to pay. Speaking of Facebook, one of the things we're going to talk about on tonight's show, the apparent matchup between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg is on, and we're gonna see it within the month. Also, an interesting matchup that we are going to be privy to, apparently. Ron Desantis is going to take on... I'm blanking on his name. I almost called him Greg Newsome. His name's not Greg Newsome. Gavin. Old Greg Newsome over there in the governor of California, Greg Newsome. I'm sorry. I've had it like I told you guys I've been fucking swamped with work. I have been. I've worked all goddamn weekend. I even fucking yesterday, Battle of Possum just knocks on my door. I didn't even know. I didn't know he was gonna come by. I stank. Probably smells like cat piss in here. Dishes all over the place. It was like I was in the middle of like doing work. My fucking best friend just stops by. Like, oh shit. Well, first of all, I didn't know if I needed to hide my pot. I didn't know if like landlord's gonna come kick me out or something. The cops knocking on my door, wanting to know if I've been in any trouble. I never know what's going on. Speaking of trouble, Alexei Navalny in Russia. You like that transition? I'm maybe having a manic episode. I don't know. I'm all over the place tonight. Alexei Navalny sentenced to 20 more years in a Russian prison. Russia has rejected a negotiated peace deal. Says that war will continue for the foreseeable future. Gonna get a good little dose of foreign affairs tonight. We're gonna talk about a Pakistan train derailment, an update on the Nigerian coup. I called it Niger the other day. Said it like a redneck. They say in broadcasting not to bring up your flubs and your foibles. Everybody will forget about it. Nah, I do the exact opposite. Remember that time I called it Niger? Said it like a real dumbass. Come to me and get your political opinions. Trump is going to tell us about his hair care routine. Apparently Sebastian Gorka got into it with a BBC reporter. Do you guys remember Sebastian Gorka? If you watch the Majority Report, and the Africans are black. The alpha males are back. It's just another day in mass shooting USA. Washington, D.C. experiences a mass shooting yesterday overnight. I don't know when. It happened. Why am I laughing? A mass shooting happened in D.C. and you're laughing. You think it's funny? I don't. Okay, so this story happened. I think it happened on Thursday. It was just breaking, and I didn't put it on the list to talk about. So we're gonna find out tonight what the fuck happened. This woman escaped a dungeon in a basement. Apparently, her escape prevented other women who might have been held hostage. Wild story. We're gonna get the lowdown on this. Ooh! Here's something that's not gonna surprise you. I got two things that's not going to surprise you. First of all, well, three things because it's just another day in mass shooting USA. So three things. First thing was just another day in mass shooting USA. Not going to surprise you. Second thing that's not going to surprise you. A dude who allegedly helped fund the right-wing movie Sound of Freedom that we've talked about here on this very show has been arrested for child kidnapping. Also, not gonna surprise you. Apparently, it was just a fan who gave to one of the Kickstarter kind of things, or Give Fund to Go, or whatever the fuck it was. When I first saw it, I saw producer, but it's like producer's credit that you would get in a fundraiser kind of deal. So, not directly connected to the movie, but a fan of the movie Sound of Freedom. What was the other one? Oh. Here. Facial recognition software used in criminal justice. All of the false arrests made using facial recognition software. All of those false arrests were black people. Totally not surprised, are you? A streamer has been arrested. I don't even know. Nobody's told me the name of the streamer. I've watched like 3 YouTube videos on it, but it's been about other streamers reacting to it. I still don't even know what the name of the actual streamer is. Oh, because I watched some meta shit of like 3 streamers. It was like a 3 Inception deep of a streamer reacting to a streamer reacting to Hassan. Reacting to the streamer fucking doing the giveaway in Union Square. Speaking of streamer, Logan Paul, who also wrestled at SummerSlam last night, apparently flew to where his brother was having a boxing fight with a UFC fighter, which is like, what? Why don't you fight a boxer, motherfucker? What the hell? One that's not retired or 10 years out of their prime. Come on. Let's see it. Sorry, a little side note there. Logan Paul got into a scuffle with fans at the sporting event last night. We're going to talk a lot of sports tonight, actually. Noah Gragson, the NASCAR driver, Noah Gragson, who I've never heard of. And I've even been to like 7 NASCAR races. I've never even heard of this guy. Noah Gragson was suspended for liking a George Floyd meme. First of all, it's 2023. Mom has died of water toxicity. A vegan raw foods influencer has died of starvation. Another influencer went blind after tattooing her eyeballs. And Mr. T is giving away shoes to kids who don't have shoes because he's a badass like that. All that and more tonight on the Troll Patrol Live. Was it Kai Sinat? I don't even know who that is. Spider Pickle, good evening. Fuzzy Zimba, good evening. Richard, good evening. A lot of cool people showing up. Warlord. A lot of not cool people in here. Nah, Warlord, I noticed the other night that I had this whole aside about how much I loved Warlord, and after that he left. No, I love you too, buddy. No, good to see you tonight. No. Warlord just left. Dustin, good evening. Oh, shit. If you missed the meme, here's the meme. A lot of you just got here. I didn't notice that the meme wasn't on the screen. Once again, you have to know the episode of The Simpsons to get the joke. But if you get it, this is hilarious. Main event Jay had his brother kick him in the face last night. But you didn't come here to hear me talk about wrestling from last night. You came to find out what that news be doing. Shelly, good evening. Oh, I'm giving Warlord a hard time. It's friendly. I think Warlord knows that. I don't know for sure though. I don't know for sure. What I do know for sure is that dozens have been killed in Pakistan following a train derailment. Left as many as 30 people dead, over 90 injured. Railway officials said the Hazara Express was on its way from Karachi to Rawalpindi when all 10 of its cars derailed. The injuries of the victims were described as serious, and many more were transported to the hospital. Many rushed to the scene as rescue workers continued recovery efforts into the night. Seven members of my family and 22 of my neighbors are missing. So far, we've only found 4 and the rest are still missing. The cause of the crash is not yet known. Such incidents occur frequently in Pakistan, where railway infrastructure is antiquated. The Associated Press, based here in the United States, is one to talk. As if we haven't seen a shit ton of train derailments here in the U.S. this year. It happens frequently in Pakistan because of their antiquated railway system. What's our excuse? AI Comedy Festival? Has AI comedy. I don't know what AI comedy would be like. And let me tell you, I downloaded the new Photoshop. You gotta have the beta, because I was like, where's my, like, there's supposed to be AI tools in the Photoshop. I was like, I don't see them. It turns out that you have to download the beta version of Photoshop. So I downloaded that, and it has the AI. So I actually tried to use it to make tonight's graphic. So the first thing I ever tried to tell AI to make for me was Donald Trump in a NASCAR outfit with tattooed eyes. That's what I tried to do. And boy, did it not do anything like that. So I just went back to making the thumbnail the way I usually make them. If you want to play with AI sometime, we might have to do that. I wish I could go visit. I'm still trying my best. I have somebody on the inside at Twitch that is supposedly, they're not very high up, but they're supposedly working on getting me unbanned. I didn't even do the thing that they banned me for. That's like the graphic violence. I got 30 days for that. I did that. Red-handed Taylorship business. I did what I was accused of. I didn't think it should be a violation of their TOS, but it was. Now, it doesn't help. Danielle, good evening. It doesn't help that the night that happened, somebody in chat was like, isn't this video TOS? And I'm like, fuck Twitch and their TOS. Fuck TOS. I don't give a shit about TOS. Twitch can suck my dick, motherfuckers. Fuck. Kick Authority in the balls.
He's
fuck
kicking
Twitch
Authority
and
in the balls.
TOS. Yeah. So it is a good possibility that, if the people at Twitch go back to the time of the infraction, they hear somebody in the chat warning me that it's against TOS, and I'm like, fuck TOS. I don't give a shit about TOS. So yeah, Toads, that was my thing. It was a press conference. It was even blurred out. And it was a news story. Everything we cover is news. I don't know that it played on national news. It was the... And here's the wild thing. Is I was thinking about this the other day. It's me praising the cops. It's one of the rare times... It was one of the rare times that we were watching body camera footage and the cops do a good job, and they went straight into the gunfire and took an active shooter down. And I was talking about how good the thing that got me banned from Twitch was talking about how good a job the cops were doing. Still trying to get it back. Hopefully one day we'll be back on Twitch. Mainly because I want to be able to go back on Echoplex. You can't simulcast anymore, so the Troll Patrol won't ever be on Twitch again, unfortunately. But I might do an hour show lead-in or something before the Troll Patrol. I don't know. I haven't decided. You didn't come to hear me ramble about Twitch, but also I love Producer Dave, and I miss him very much. I say I miss him as if I don't talk to him still, as if I'm not in touch with him. But it's different. We like hosting shows together. We have a lot of fun. Move over to Niger. Nigerians undaunted as the deadline to reverse the coup expires. I didn't even know that there was a deadline. We need to catch up with what's going on. We haven't really checked in with Niger here in the last week.
Residents in Niger's capital took over roundabouts and road intersections on the way to the presidential palace Saturday night into Sunday early hours. They were supporting the Niger military junta and undaunted by the threat of military intervention by West Africa's regional bloc as its ultimatum for the country's coup leaders to reinstate the president expires. This demonstrator says he believes France is behind the Economic Community of West Africa, or ECOWAS, and want to attack the country. Another demonstrator says that, quote, the people of Niger have understood that these imperialists want our demise. The junta has said it will not cave in to external pressure to stand down. The July 26th power grab is the 7th coup in West and Central Africa in 3 years. It has rocked the Western Sahel region. Defense chiefs of the ECOWAS agreed on military action, including when and where to strike, if the detained President Mohamed Bazoum was not released and reinstated by Sunday. ECOWAS did not respond to a request for comment on what its next steps would be, or when exactly on Sunday its deadline expires. The bloc's military pledge has triggered fears of further conflict in a region already battling a deadly Islamist insurgency. Meanwhile, Italy said on Sunday it had reduced the number of troops it has in Niger to make room in its military base for civilians who may need protection. A military plane took off from Niamey and landed in Rome late on Saturday, with 65 Italian soldiers as well as 10 US soldiers. That's according to the Italian Defense Ministry. Niger's former colonial power France said on Saturday it would support regional efforts to overturn the coup, without specifying if that included military assistance. Any military intervention by ECOWAS could be complicated by a promise from juntas in neighboring Mali and Burkina Faso to come to Niger's defense if needed. Bazoum's Prime Minister Oumadou Mamadou said on Saturday in Paris that the ousted regime...
Mamadou! Richard broke my brain! If people from Niger are Nigerians, what are people from Nigeria? Also Nigerians? Are people from Niger Nigerians? And people from Nigeria are Nigerians? And I'm just saying it like I am a white boy from Appalachia trying to pronounce some French names. Like Umaduma Mamadoom. That's fucking racist of me to do that. I'm sorry. It was probably racist of me to sing Mamadou.
Defense if needed. Bazoum's Prime Minister Oumadou Mamadou said on Saturday in Paris.
It's a fucking cool name too. Oumadou Mamadou. That fucking rolls right off your fucking tongue.
That the ousted regime still believed a last-minute agreement was possible.
They believe a last-minute agreement is still possible. Doesn't seem like it, based on Reuters reporting from about 6 hours ago. I'm disappointed in myself. That was horrible. Also horrible is the imprisonment of opposition leader Alexei Navalny in Russia. Vladimir Putin has given Navalny another 20 years on top of the sentence he was already serving. He has been in detention. I don't want to say for the entire duration of the Troll Patrol. I feel like he was imprisoned in the fall of like 2020. So almost 3 years perhaps.
A vocal critic of Russian President Vladimir Putin has had nearly 2 decades added to his prison sentence.
Alexei Navalny is already serving a sentence of 11 and a half years after being convicted of fraud and other charges. Navalny says those charges are bogus. He was then convicted of extremism and had 19 years added to his sentence. Navalny's political movement has been outlawed, and
he seems to be in good spirits.
Government. The audio feed from his latest sentencing was so poor, it was practically impossible to understand what the judge was saying.
Yeah, that's a Putin for you. They have rejected peace talks that were taking place this weekend. It's one of the things we were keeping an eye on. Russia rejects peace agreement, insisting its war in Ukraine will rage on for the foreseeable future. Russia has no interest in a peace agreement at this time. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said there are currently no grounds for a deal with Ukraine. We will continue the operation for the foreseeable future, Peskov said. Moscow has no interest in any proposed deal to end the war. The admission, which was promoted by Russian state media, comes amid claims by some American politicians that the United States could broker an agreement by withholding arms and urging Ukraine to make territorial concessions. There are currently no grounds for it. Apparently, the Biden administration has indeed been making pleas for territorial concessions behind the scenes. That is something that we have learned in the last month or two.
Come on, man.
So contrary to some dumb leftists, that actually has been the U.S. position. Russia had previously accused the U.S. and other Western governments of undermining efforts to negotiate an end to hostilities. The rejection of a peace deal comes as critics of U.S. military aid to Kiev, including former President Donald Trump, have insisted that such an agreement could be quickly reached, especially if Ukraine were pressured to make concessions. So that summit took place in Saudi Arabia over the weekend. Involved diplomats from countries such as China, India, and the U.S., but not Russia. So Russia wasn't even involved in the talks. I thought Russia was going to be represented. If I had known Russia wasn't even going to be there, I wouldn't have taken the notion of peace talks seriously when I last left you guys on Thursday evening. I'm sorry, it wasn't Thursday evening. It was Thursday afternoon when we did the Trump arraignment. The really pretty red sky is hitting my purple lighting and making like bisexual lighting behind me, and it's very cool. Neato! Well, thanks God. That's just swell. I love life. Speaking of Ukraine, presidential candidate on the Republican side, Vivek Ramaswamy, has implied that America is only involved in Ukraine because of Hunter Biden.
Come on, man.
I think you mentioned this in your speech. I just want to clarify. Do you think the only reason that we're involved in Ukraine is because of Hunter Biden and Burisma? What is the connection between Hunter Biden and Burisma and our involvement in this war, do you think?
Well, look, I think it is a hard fact that a Ukrainian-affiliated company, a Ukraine state-affiliated company, made a $5 million payment to the son of a sitting vice president, who's now the president of the United States, who is now sending $200 billion of aid to a country without ever identifying what the clear national objective is that we're advancing by sending that money.
If I remember correctly, the people on the board of Burisma were Russian aligned, correct? And they were corrupt. That's why the prosecutor wasn't investigating Burisma, which is why Joe Biden stated U.S.-EU policy to get the prosecutor fired, got him fired. Flash, good evening.
Everything I just told you is fact. Now, it is also further my perspective that this war does not advance American interests. We are further driving Russia into China's hands. We are increasing the risk of nuclear war, and we're depleting capabilities that we may better use in other circumstances. So I think that was the payment to Hunter Biden corrupt? Absolutely it was. Do I think that it has some relationship?
And this payment that he's talking about is the one that, like, supposedly that $5 million was going to get split 3 ways. And then Hunter's share of that was part of that was going to Joe Biden and someone else, right? There was another 3-way split of the 3 ways. So, like, Joe Biden was accused of getting like $500,000 or something. That's all that was.
Come on, man.
It was. Do I think that it has some relationship to our posture towards Ukraine? I think it's likely that it does. And does this affect the way Vladimir Putin may look at the relationship between the U.S. and Ukraine?
I'm sorry to keep shutting him down here, but like, there are a million legitimate ways that the former vice president of the United States could make $5 million probably in like a month, maybe in like a week, maybe in just a couple of days. You write a book, do speaking engagements. The idea that this motherfucker took a bribe for less than $5 million is absurd. Why would he do that? Once again, the vice president, how much is Obama worth now? Fucking Bernie Sanders himself wrote a book and is now a multimillionaire. So, you telling me that Joe Biden couldn't write a book and make more money than he would have made from the supposed bribe that he did? There's a million legitimate ways that Joe Biden could do a deal with Netflix. Joe Biden could start a podcast. Dude, are you serious, dude?
I think that's a legitimate question to ask too, because if you're in Putin's shoes, you're saying, wait a minute, here's a country that's paying bribes.
Yeah, Richard.
Son of the person who's now the U.S. president.
That's awesome. Like, fucking, this goes back to like 1992, 93, whatever we signed, whatever fucking agreement with them. It predates Biden even being in office. Oh, well, I guess not in the Senate. But still, like, come on, dude. And what's the deal with this dude's hair? What is that haircut?
We're increasing the risk of nuclear war, and we're depleting capabilities that we may better use.
Chocolate chip.
So I think that was the payment to Hunter Biden corrupt? Absolutely it was. Do I think that it has some relationship to our posture towards Ukraine? I think it's likely that it does. And does this affect the way Vladimir Putin may look at the relationship between the U.S. and Ukraine? I think that's a legitimate question to ask too, because if you're in Putin's shoes, you're saying, wait a minute, here's a country that's paying bribes.
What is the deal with his hair?
Of the person who's now the U.S. president that's now arming my enemy to the teeth. So yes, I do think that Hunter Biden has become a geopolitical disaster. Already, his situation with Burisma and Ukraine was the basis for the second impeachment of the last president. And so this guy is a...
What? No, the basis of the impeachment for Trump. The first impeachment. This is the first impeachment, not the second one for January 6th. The first impeachment was the fact that he tried to hold up aid to Ukraine in order to extort them to get them to say they opened an investigation into Hunter Biden because he just wanted it for campaign fodder leading into 2020. That was what the impeachment was over. You asshole, you lying sack of shit.
In Washington, D.C., there's not some fringe issue anymore that's just a partisan politics tussle. It's having a direct impact on real geopolitical realities in the world, and I think it's a problem, and we've got to get to the bottom of it.
Shut up, Lester. Oh.
Thanks for watching.
Oh, there he is.
Channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news.
I didn't think he was coming. It took a little longer than usual. What was up with his hair? Does he have like a bald spot he was covering up with that weird looking hair? I can't get over Vivek's hair. I'm sorry, Vivek? It's Vivek, right? I got it wrong because it rhymes with cake. It's Vivek Ramaswamy. Perhaps he needs some hair care. Perhaps he needs some hair care tips. And who better to take some hair care tips from than the man with quite possibly the most famous head of hair on earth, Donald Trump.
So, little things like your sink. You buy a sink and no water comes out because they have regulators on the water. Even if you're in a state where water comes out of heaven all day long, doesn't make any difference. When you take a shower, I like to have, I have this gorgeous head of hair. When I take a shower, I want water to pour down on me. When you go into these new homes with showers, the water drips down slowly. You have suds, beautiful, nice, wonderful suds, a lot of money, Procter & Gamble, all that crap that they say is good. Probably cost them about 2 cents and they sell it for $10. But you can't, it takes you 10 minutes to wash your hair. You know what you do? You just stay in the shower about 10 times longer than you would have. It's the same. You probably use more water. I broke all that up. So, little things like your sink.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about people's hair, right? You see the... Battle Opossum asked me if I was growing my hair back out already. I was like, no, it's still bald boy summer. And he was like, it's getting pretty long, right? I was like, yeah, I've been lazy. No longer takes me 10 minutes to wash my hair like Donald Trump. Did you guys hear Trump is in a lot of trouble. He was arraigned on new charges last week in relation to January 6th. I don't even know which attorney this is. There's plenty of Trump attorneys floating around out there for the multiple investigations and court proceedings. So I don't know which attorney this is, but one of Trump's attorneys is going to tell us their thoughts on the latest Trump indictment and arraignment.
What do you make of the latest charges against Donald Trump?
Well, there's a lot to make of it, I suppose. It's the third.
David Schoen.
Will be 4 indictments against former President Trump. And this one, many people would suggest is the most momentous in terms of its sort of national importance. I think it's certainly written that way. From my perspective, I think it's a very unfortunate event. I don't think it should have been brought. I don't think that the events of that day should be criminalized as to Donald Trump's actions, thoughts, etc. I think it sets a very dangerous precedent. Interestingly, the reaction to it that I've seen, at least, has been as polarized as everything else in the country these days, with some suggesting that it's a slam dunk, that because it's so detailed, there's no way to wriggle out, with others suggesting it's nothing but a broad political screed that tries to criminalize a legitimate, whether right or wrong, but a legitimate exercise of First Amendment rights to challenge the results of an election in specific ways.
No.
One thing that's particularly unfair with these long speaking indictments is, it lays out all of these specific allegations as if fact, when they may just be, the testimony of one witness or another with certain motivations that aren't tested in the document itself. And then the government moves for a protective order in these cases so the defendant can't comment publicly on it. I think that's problematic. But just to get, last thing I want to say on this is to give you an example of, how broad the spectrum is. While I say on the one hand, many people say, this is a slam dunk and so serious. Even the New York Times today, Dave Leonard's column says, listen, it's not so clear, and it's not clear that this is a crime. This is a novel theory. And the Wall Street Journal has a column saying it's another troubling Trump indictment. Has dangerous implications for the institution of the presidency.
Well,
so it's a serious matter.
Let me go back.
What shit sucker said those things?
And I should point out the fact that you've represented Democrats, socialists. So, you often get painted with the same stripe as the client that we're talking about at that moment. But you've represented many people in cases that are similar to this, I'm sure. Actually, you have. I'm sure you haven't. So let me, again, I'm going to strike that. Let me ask the question differently. Let me unpack this a bit. David,
she's got to strike that because there aren't really cases similar to this. This is very, very unique.
In terms of, is this, you said, I believe the term you used was it long? What did you say about the indictment that's unusual? So, sorry, I'm not.
Indictment. It's a long speaking indictment.
Well, okay, so sorry, thank you. So, David, let's unpack this a little bit. You mentioned the term long speaking indictment. What do you mean by that?
Well, often, indictment really just has to charge the statutory section and lay out sufficient facts to give the defendant notice of what he or she is being charged with so that person can defend against it and to protect against double jeopardy. Let's say the person gets acquitted and the government comes back and says, well, that's not really what we meant the first time around. So there should be enough specificity for that. Sometimes that's fleshed out in a bill of particulars. In any event, this is written more as a political document. I think the justification the Smith team would use would be to say, listen, it's a matter of great importance to the American people, and so we're going to lay out the evidence that we have in detail. I think the other side of it would be it's very unfair because you're just taking, first of all, you're just taking someone's word for it who, without being able to cross-examine that person. And secondly, you've omitted a number of relevant things. So, for example, the Mr. Smith in the indictment.
This is the special counsel we're talking about here?
Yes, I'm sorry, Jack Smith, special counsel. In the indictment, takes an excerpt from one of President Trump's speech on January 6th. But he omits the part that the defenders of President Trump highlight, and that is to demonstrate peacefully and patriotically. That's certainly relevant to the idea if the suggestion in the or the assertion in the indictment is that President Trump encouraged or intended to encourage violence. Certainly relevant that he said.
Well, I mean, it's okay if they include that he said peacefully and whatever, if you include like wink wink at the end of it, because it was clearly what he was doing.
Peaceful and patriotic.
You've
peaceful and patriotic.
During the Senate impeachment trial, as I mentioned, what is the best recourse for President Trump? What advice would you give him in this situation?
A very specific factor to this case is that in terms of the conspiracy charges, conspiracy is what's called a specific intent crime. So they have to show that two or more people agreed to commit the goal of the conspiracy, knowing that it was forbidden by the law. They intended to do something the law prohibits or forbids. In this case,
and we know from January 6th testimony that all these motherfuckers knew exactly what they were doing was illegal. We know it. We know it for a fact. Dead to rights. Taylor should business with blood on her hands.
President Trump genuinely believed that the election was stolen from him, or that his 75 million plus voters were cheated, and that he had to take steps his advisors told him to take, then really all of the charges are negated because they all require that frame of mind. Now you might say, well, one of them, the charge under 18 USC 1512 C2, that's one of the obstruction charges, uses the word corruptly for the state of mind. That's problematic because it's a bit vague. But anyway, the point is here, one of the primary defenses will have to be his state of mind. I can tell you this, President, without any hesitation, President Trump believed then, believes today, with his heart and soul, that he was cheated, that the election was stolen, that improprieties occurred, that stopped his win, that he actually won the election, and so on. And he acted out of that frame of mind. And I can also tell you that at all times he was advised by these lawyers around him. You can be sure that President Trump didn't come up with the idea of alternative electors. You wouldn't expect a business
because he's stupid.
To even understand the system of electors.
You wouldn't expect the former president of the United States to even understand the system of electors. Is that what he just said?
As a conservative, it's getting harder and harder to not look like a kook.
Did I hear that correctly?
Stopped his win, that he actually won the election, and so on. And he acted out of that frame of mind. And I can also tell you that at all times he was advised by these lawyers around him. You can be sure that President Trump didn't come up with the idea of alternative electors. You wouldn't expect a businessman to necessarily even understand the system of electors, which, by the way, isn't so clear anyway. It varies among the states, whether electors are bound to vote for the popular vote and so on. Anyway, there's a lot here. It's a fascinating case.
Fascinating case indeed. I mean, he's not wrong about that. Representative Jamie Raskin, the impeachment manager for the first impeachment. I don't think he was the second impeachment manager. He might have been the second impeachment manager. I think it was just the first impeachment, though. And he was one of the members of the January 6th committee. Jamie Raskin on Meet the Press earlier today, responding to Trump's attorney and his wild claims he just made.
Joining me now is the Democratic Congressman we've been referring to there, Jamie Raskin of Maryland. Congressman Raskin, welcome back to Meet the Press.
Thanks for having me.
Let me first...
Also, Congressman, hope you are doing well in your battle with cancer. For those of you who aren't aware, that's the reason for the do-rag.
Start with a couple of things we heard from Mr. Lauro. You spent 25 years as a constitutional law professor, so I kind of want to get Professor Raskin's take on this. Let me play one quick clip of something he said to me about the Constitution.
A technical violation of the Constitution is not a violation of criminal law. That's just plain wrong.
Now, he added the word criminal law there, but it was my understanding if you violate the Constitution, you have violated the law.
Well, first of all, a technical violation of the Constitution is a violation of the Constitution. The Constitution in 6 different places opposes insurrection and makes that a grievous constitutional offense. So our Constitution is designed to stop people from trying to overthrow elections and trying to overthrow the government. But in any event, there's a whole apparatus of criminal law which is in place to enforce this constitutional principle. That's what Donald Trump is charged with violating. He conspired to defraud the American people out of our right to an honest election by substituting the real legal process we have under federal and state law with counterfeit electors. I mean, there are people who are in jail for several years for counterfeiting one vote. If they try to vote illegally once, he tried to steal the entire election. And his lawyers up there saying, oh, that's just a matter of him expressing his First Amendment rights. That's deranged. That is a deranged argument.
He also seemed to hint that everything he did as president may not be constitutional that he's charged with this. Sounds like the old Nixon defense. I can do it because I was president.
Well, first of all, he's charged as part of a conspiracy. So there were lots of people who were involved in doing it. But in any event, the law that applies to the rest of us also applies to the president of the United States, a principle they understood very well during the impeachment when they were saying, well, let's not do it during the impeachment because he's already left office. Deal with this as a matter of criminal law. That's what Senator McConnell said. That's what a bunch of the Republicans said. Now it's like a 3-card Monte. You can't get him for impeachment because he's already left office, but you can't get him for criminal law because he once was president. I mean, America can see what's going on here. This is a guy who wants to appoint himself completely immune from the rule of law that applies to the rest of us.
He chose not to charge insurrection. It sounds like Jack Smith wanted to avoid a debate over the First Amendment.
Well, there's a criminal statute aiding and abetting or giving aid and comfort to insurrectionists, which to the mind of the January 6th committee, Donald Trump definitely did. I mean, he's calling them great patriots. He's saying never forget this day. He continues to laud them to this very day and saying that when he gets back in, he's going to
pardon them.
I mean, they're convicted of assaulting our police officers, and he's talking about pardoning them. A lot of them have pled guilty to seditious conspiracy, conspiracy to overthrow the government. So, yeah, but he's being charged with conspiracy to obstruct the federal proceeding, the joint session of Congress, and conspiring to defraud us all out of our voting rights. He tried to steal the election away from us.
Do you like how Jack Smith did this, or do you wish he had added the incitement?
No, I think that I understand there were prudential and tactical reasons for doing what he did, and I think it's excellent because the basic point is the deprivation of our civil rights. Abraham Lincoln said it best. He said, an insurrection, an attempt to topple an election is an attack on the first principle of government, which is the right of the people to choose their own leaders.
When you read the indictment, it's really strong on the alternate elector slate, right? There is specific actions that are taken. It really sort of throws away the whole speech.
Because there's a conspiracy.
You start to see everything. During the impeachment trial, you didn't have the scope of the alternate elector scheme. Obviously, by the time you guys impaneled the committee, you did. Do you think it would have made a difference if you had sort of the scope then?
Well, I think it should have made a difference psychologically for the senators like McConnell who voted no. But, in a juridical sense, what they were saying was that the Senate did not have jurisdiction to try Trump because he was a former president. Now, 7 Republicans rejected that. All 50 Democrats rejected that. It was a 57-43 vote to convict him of inciting a violent insurrection against the Union, which was the most widespread bipartisan vote in American history to convict a president. And of course, Trump is bragging about the fact that only 57 senators voted to convict him of that. He beat the constitutional.
So close. So close.
His match now in a special counsel.
Oh no! I was thinking filibuster and the 60 votes to clear the filibuster. No, it's 2/3 of the Senate. It's actually higher than 60. I'm sorry.
Letter of the criminal law.
We're going to have a campaign that is going to be filled with a lot of whataboutisms. We know the Republicans are going to talk about Hunter Biden a lot here. And I know that a lot of the technical defense of the president with Hunter Biden is, well, the president didn't do anything wrong. But as Michael Kinsley once said, the real scandal in Washington is not what's illegal, it's what's legal. Should there be a code of conduct, something for family members here? Because the appearance of what Hunter Biden did is not good.
Yeah, I mean, we know that there is a lot of, influence in Washington that's based on people's family connections.
Last
and family
names
ties.
matter a lot on K Street, as you know.
And I have repeatedly asked Chairman Comer on the Oversight Committee for us to look at that in a serious and substantive and methodical and nonpartisan way. But he's instead decided to just pursue the Hunter Biden thing as a one-off, as a way to score cheap political points. He doesn't want to talk about Jared Kushner, who brought back $2 billion, not million, $2 billion.
Billion with a B.
To a company he created the day after.
Billion with a B.
Ended, when there was still blood all over the Capitol.
Let me ask you this. Why do you think a thrice indicted former president is neck and neck with the current president?
Well, it's a great question.
Because Republicans are lunatics.
Oppose it to him because it's his political party that they've dragged into the mud here. I mean, that was a pro-freedom, anti-slavery, anti-know-nothing, pro-immigration party, and now it's become a cult of authoritarian personality. Even the candidates running against Trump dare not challenge his clear betrayals of his constitutional oath. Donald Trump knew exactly what he was doing, and we had lots of testimony about that before the January 6th committee. His own White House counsel told him that he was wrong. The Attorney General of the United States, who was like the biggest sycophant of the Trump administration, said the arguments he was following were BS. And so he had to have known 60 federal and state courts
Now, McCarthy has come out and called it like a complete political prosecution. Bill Barr has countered Kevin McCarthy and been like, nope, the charges are legitimate. The former attorney general for the criminal in question says the charges are legitimate. So I don't know how any Republican can say that they're political.
Rejected every argument about electoral fraud and corruption they brought forward, and still he went ahead. And even if he did believe it, as his lawyer is saying, which I don't think he did, but even if he did, it makes no difference. You might believe that your bank owes you some money. You don't have a right to go rob the bank.
And get that money back. Jamie Raskin, Democrat from Maryland. Appreciate you coming on, sharing your perspective with us. Thank you.
Thanks so much for having me.
Shut up, Lester.
YouTube channel. Follow today's top stories and breaking news by downloading the end.
See, that one came on quick. You see how I got fooled on the other one. Took a lot longer to get to it. Let's hear from a former Trump advisor who apparently went on with the BBC and got into a little argument with them. Sebastian Gorka. I still don't even know who this fucking dude is. Sebastian Gorka went on with BBC host Chris Mason, and it apparently got a little contentious.
It's infuriating. It is an outrage. It is proof positive that sadly America has become a banana republic. To see Biden's Department of Justice once more bring federal charges against the leader of the opposition, who is 20 to 40 points.
Remember, I just told you that the head of the Justice Department under the previous administration says that the charges are legitimate. So fuck off, Sebastian Gorka.
Before any other candidate for the presidency, the man most capable of replacing Joe Biden. It's just a rogue state, a deep state out of control.
Looking at the indictment, conspiracy to defraud the US, suggesting he pursued unlawful means to subvert the election results, conspiracy to obstruct an official proceeding relating to the allegation of corruptly obstructing the congressional proceedings on the 6th of January over the peaceful transfer of power. That's just two. There's a couple of others. There's plenty there for the court to go at.
Yeah, but it's all garbage. I mean, the whole thing can be thrown out of court. When they played the video, I was there. I was literally in the front row, 20 feet from the president, on January the 6th, on the ellipse outside the White House, when he said, "We will now march peacefully and patriotically to the Capitol, to Congress." So what are we talking? How are you impeding the will of the American people or official proceedings?
But that's not what happened, shithead.
Amendment rights to march peacefully to the site of Congress where the deliberations and the counting of the votes occurs.
I suppose the argument some might make, looking in on America from outside, seeing a rich and vibrant democracy with a legal system that is willing to challenge anyone, that nobody is above the law, that's the very essence of what people might aspire to in a democracy. Something that you're talking down here, that a court can hear from someone even if they are a former president.
Why are you putting words in my mouth? I'm talking about the absolute opposite. Do you not speak English? I'm talking about equality before the law. Did you not listen to what I said? President Trump hasn't committed a crime, and for 7 years he's been persecuted.
So why would he worry about going before a court? He could make a case.
Honey, not only has Trump committed a crime, he's committed numerous. He's charged with like 70-something crimes. Right now. 50-something felonies. Dude.
and he could win.
I want Lady Justice to keep her blindfold on. She has had it ripped off her face. I want equality before the law. Why don't you? Is it because you work for the BBC?
I'm seeking to test your argument, and I'm suggesting to you...
Well, you're not listening.
If you're proud of America and you're proud of I
am disturbed at what America has become because of political persecution. That's what I want to fix.
If you're so convinced, though, of the merits of President Trump's case, or
let him go before a jury,
the case against him, why the concern? Why not just make that case in court, make that case to the wider American public? That's part of a potential re-election campaign. Why the worry?
Why the worry? Because we don't have the opportunity for a fair trial. You need to do a little bit of homework. Hillary Clinton garnered...
We don't have the opportunity for a fair trial. That's literally why you get tried in front of 12 of your peers. It's the bedrock of the U.S. judicial system. Right-wingers morons. Seb Gorka's a moron. Let's talk about a special election that was held last week, where a couple of lawmakers who were expelled from the Tennessee State House won their seats back, proving that the Republican stunt, the racist Republican stunt that they pulled, was just a waste of time and taxpayers' dollars, and also trying to silence the will of the people. They can fuck all the way off. Representative, is this Justin Johnson on MSNBC?
With us, I want to start with.
I got the name wrong, didn't I?
Calls for gun safety reform. What do you believe that fight looks like when the legislature heads back into session?
Our legislature has a responsibility to respond to the over 80% of Tennessee.
Justin Pearson.
Something done about gun reform.
You can say Johnson and Pearson or some shit was like a fucking book thing. That's where my mind went. That like a textbook, like for Pearson and Johnson or some shit like that. State Representative Justin Pearson.
Over 80% of Tennesseans who want to see something done about gun reform, who want to see something done about the horrible statistic that gun violence kills more of our children than car accidents or cancers, the leading cause of death for a child under the age of 18 in our state. I believe the special session is an opportunity for us to prioritize the voices of our communities, our children, our parents, our elders who want to see action taken. The status quo of listening to the Tennessee Firearms Association and the American Firearms Association and the National Rifle Association by the Republican Party in Tennessee, the Speaker Cameron Sexton, Leader William Lambert, has only led to more tragedy, more heartache, and more pain. And we know that having more guns at our schoolhouse doors are not going to be a resolution. Making sure schoolhouses never become places where we have people perpetuating acts of violence with AR-15s and weapons of war is how we act. And we can do more than just offer thoughts and prayers. We have a responsibility to use the power of legislation to prevent these mass atrocities and the everyday gun violence that happens in our community that impacted my own classmate from happening.
Representative Pearson, I think part of the reason that what happened to you and what happened to your two fellow state lawmakers grabbed national attention was the fact that we are in a moment where our democracy feels very much in peril. And so the fact that there was an attack on democracy in your state, that you had Tennessee Republicans effectively nullifying the voices of your constituents when they expelled you in April. This week's election, it felt watching it that it restored that power to the people, that in this moment when we worry about our democracy, it was very powerful to see that swing back. And I wonder what you have learned about the promise of democracy, about the power of voters in these last few months.
We should all be concerned about the state of our democracy, because the reality is we have people who are turning our democracy into a mobocracy, where the mob rules and not the people. We have to realize it was the exposure to myself and Representative Jones, but it was 140,000 people's voices, people who had went to the polls, people who had advocated for their candidate, people who had used the lever of democracy for us to be there in the first place, who had their voices taken away because of the abuse of power of the Republican supermajority in Tennessee. We should all be very concerned when people abuse their power to silence the voice of the minority and to kick out two of the youngest black lawmakers in the state of Tennessee. That should worry us because decision-making and power-making that is happening here is all skewing toward white supremacy. It's all skewing toward patriarchy, and it's all skewing toward policies that hurt the last, the lost, and the least of these, those who have been made poor, those who are LGBTQIA. Our democracy is not serving all of us in the state of Tennessee, and we have to be in the fight and on the battlefield to change it. And that's the hope, right? It's the people who march, the people who protest, and the people who, even after their representative get expelled, say that I'm coming back. And in District 86, we saw more people go to the polls this time than ever before in the special election to make the statement clear to the Republican Party in Tennessee that you can't expel a movement.
That was Representative Justin Pearson. He and Representative Justin Jones won their seats back this past week in a special election. The representatives from Nashville and Memphis. It appears we're going to get a showdown between two governors who've agreed to debate. We're apparently going to get a debate. One is a Republican presidential candidate by the name of Ron Desantis, the governor from Florida. The other has been floated as a possible future presidential candidate for the Democrats, Mr. Gavin Newsome in California. They have apparently agreed to debate each other. A debate between the governors of Florida and California.
You might remember earlier this year I interviewed California Governor Gavin Newsom not that long ago. I floated the idea of a policy-based debate, red versus blue, red state versus blue state, between Gavin Newsom and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Here's a friendly reminder. I'll say, Governor Newsom.
I mean, he already wiped the floor with you, Sean, so.
That's the only word I'm going to throw out. Love it. You, minute, then you go at it. Next topic. Right. And I'll moderate it that way, and you have my word, I'll moderate it that way.
I'm all in. Count on it.
You would do a 2-hour debate with Ron DeSantis.
I would make it 3.
Wow. That would be, how many of you would like to see that? Would you like it?
Man's got some balls.
Now, this would be a debate that highlights what are major political and philosophical divides in this country.
There has been a lot of talk about that, Richard, and I think Joe Biden goes the distance. Joe Biden will be president again after 2024. He will have a second term. I don't think that we played somebody a week ago, 2 weeks ago, say that they felt that Biden was going to name somebody else as his successor at the convention. Slim chance. I mean, I won't say it's never going to happen, but outside possibility, Just like, I knew the moment Biden won election in 2020, I knew he was going to run again in 2024. Because I was talking about primarying him right after he won election here on this very stream. Because they just don't give it up. They don't serve one term. It's not a thing. Nobody that has access to power. And I mean, there have been one-term presidents. LBJ only served one full term, right? He could have ran for re-election again and didn't. I think he served part of JFK's term, if I remember correctly. But it doesn't happen. It's a very rare thing. And Joe Biden's gonna run for re-election. Everybody around him is pumping him full of you're the only person that can beat Trump and blah 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 blah. And he doesn't want to give up the the power of being president. And I'm sure those 4 years go by really fast.
Why is there mass immigration from blue states to red ones? How do you reconcile a lot of these issues that are so important? You know, states
You can do a lot worse than Newsome as the post-Biden face of the party.
tax rates or none at all, like in the case of Florida. What's the difference between a sanctuary state and states that actually...
Okay, so Richard, so you pose an excellent a point there. Who's they? Like, it's not anybody's decision other than Joe Biden. Like, the DNC doesn't play a role in this decision. Like, it is Joe Biden, 100%, buck stops with him, whether he runs or not. So, there's no they to force him. And as I understand it, Obama has pledged his undying and unwavering support. So, for Joe Biden's reelection. The party, there's no mechanism for the party to oust Biden, though, other than a primary. But I mean, we're not even really having a primary. So the idea that the DNC would try to oust him is just like they're protecting him. They're not even going to have a debate with the primary candidates that we have. So there's no somebody pulling the strings.
Respect immigration laws. What about the issue of America? Should we remain energy independent or restrict the use of fossil fuels altogether? Now, Vice President Harris recently turned down the opportunity to debate Governor Desantis. Gavin Newsom says he's not only open to it, he'll do it. Now we ask Governor Desantis. We welcome him back to the program. Governor, how are you? Good. Thanks for having me. Great to have you. All right.
Please clap.
You heard Gavin make the offer. Your answer is?
Absolutely. I'm game. Let's get it done. Just tell me when and where. We'll do it. And here's the thing, Sean. I mean, in one respect, the debate between California and Florida, has already been had, as you suggest. People have been voting on that. They've been voting on it with their feet. They have fled California in record numbers. Florida has been the #1 state for net in-migration. We have the #1 ranked economy, #1 now in education, crime rate at a 50-year low. But in another sense, this
#1 ranked economy. What's he talking about?
Because you have people like Joe Biden, they would love to see the Californication of the United States. Biden may not even be the nominee. You could have Gavin Newsom. You could have Kamala Harris. And I think if we go down that direction, that's going to accelerate American decline. We can't see America decline anymore. We need to reverse American decline.
Governor, let me ask you.
Man, Anthony Kiedis would get real mad at this interview. That motherfucker dreams of Californication.
Because I know this issue of Africa.
I'll see myself out.
Came up, and my understanding is that you had a panel of predominantly African American scholars build out the history of slavery, African American.
But their names were Tom.
And you were attacked by Kamala Harris over that. And am I wrong in my understanding that these were predominantly, this curriculum was put together by African American scholars predominantly?
Yeah, exactly. And one of the leaders was a former chairman of the U.S. Commission on Civil Rights. Kamala is lying, saying somehow these black scholars designed a curriculum to try to say there was somehow good with slavery. That is not true. They show the injustice of
slavery. Oh, thank you, Shelley.
They told all the stories throughout all of American history, including black history, and she's trying to demagogue it to score political points. But, Sean, we fight back against...
This motherfucker's going to accuse other people of demagoguery.
Media mob, we don't bow down to the left when they are trying to demagogue and lie about things that are going on in the state of Florida. So I've stood up.
Oh, brother Ron, Cornell's got some weird bedfellows.
for those black scholars. I thank them for their job, and they did a good job.
I believe we're living in a time where Democrats especially are trying to criminalize political differences. I noticed a story about a Massachusetts DA wants the Attorney General Merrick Garland to prosecute you for sending illegal immigrants to Martha's Vineyard. My understanding in that case, by the way, they threw them off the island in less than 24 hours.
It's human trafficking.
There were enough rooms for every one of those illegal immigrants. Is it true? My understanding is that every person
They throw them off an island.
signed a waiver and did so voluntarily?
Of course it was, Sean. I mean, give me a break. What a farce that they're doing. What a crock. But it just shows you the left in this country, they want to criminalize their political opposition. They want to weaponize the institutions of government to go after people that they can't beat through the political process. This was an issue in my re-election, Sean. Some people were attacking me over the fact that we've been very strong against illegal immigration. And what was the result of that? We won the greatest Republican landslide in Florida gubernatorial history. So this is a crock. It's a total abuse of power. But it doesn't surprise me that they would try to do that.
Last question. I noticed your response to the indictment of President Trump yesterday, and I know you're rivals right now, but you said something that really stuck with me, and that is, I don't believe any Republican can get a fair trial in Washington, D.C., or New York, or in Fulton County, Georgia. Should there be a better way to administer?
You can't get a fair trial in Atlanta, fucking Georgia. I think you're just a fucking crybaby.
Minister justice and not put liberal Democrats in conservative districts for trials. It should be a district where there is a fair balance of a jury pool.
Absolutely. I mean, in D.C., they will go after you if you're a Republican. The facts be damned. Republicans don't have a fair shot there. They should be able to have a fair trial somewhere else.
All right, Governor, we're going to work on the details behind the scenes with your office and Governor Newsom's office. We appreciate you coming on and accepting that challenge.
Audacity. Caucasity. That's what you call that. So which matchup are you more excited for? Newsome versus Desantis? Or are you more excited for a possible matchup between Zuckerberg and Musk?
Well, the bizarre, albeit a lot of eyes will be on potentially a cage fight between those two tech billionaires, Elon Musk and also Mark Zuckerberg, could be happening sooner than maybe we all thought. This is a tweet or a post from Elon Musk earlier on today saying that the Zuck-Musk fight will be live streamed on X, his platform there, and all
okay, so Elon Musk is tweeting this. I have a feeling it will, how you like, Mark Zuckerberg is going to let you exclusively stream something on Twitter, X, whatever the fuck you want to call it. Nah, there's no way. I don't believe this.
Proceeds will go to charity for veterans. And in a response on also Mark Zuckerberg's new platform, he responds to this post saying, I am ready. I suggested August 26th when he first challenged, but he hasn't confirmed, not holding my breath. So certainly potentially some developments here in this ongoing battle between those two tech giants. Of course, as Elon Musk saying that he has this potential in-person fight with Mark Zuckerberg would be streamed on his social media site. The two tech billionaires seemingly agreed to a, quote, cage match face-off in late June. Zuckerberg actually trained in mixed martial arts, and the CEO of Facebook parent company Meta posted about competing in his first jiu-jitsu tournament.
Yeah, Zuck's in shape.
Of course, whether or not Musk and Zuckerberg actually made it to the ring in Las Vegas is yet to be seen, especially as Musk often tweets about action prematurity or without following through. But even if a cage match seemingly
otherwise known as being a liar,
a lot of attention. So
Elon Musk is a liar.
Continue to follow here on Live Now from Fox as a date could be coming as soon as this month. August 26th was the apparent date Zuckerberg put out to face off with Musk in this cage match. And I know it's certainly...
I don't have time to work out, so I just bring them to work. Dude's gonna get his fucking ass kicked if he does actually get in the cage with Zuck. Like producer Dave always says, there's nobody to root for here. However, I'd rather see Zuck win. I really would. Elon Musk is so fucking horrible that he makes Zuckerberg likable. In comparison. Don't get me twisted now. In comparison. I take Zuckerberg. What do you guys say?
Certainly a bizarre situation, but I know all eyeballs will be on that and potentially also getting going with charity, as that's what Elon Musk says he will do, as this will be streamed on his platform, but all charity proceeds will go to charities there for veterans.
I think Elon Musk is going to be like, have you seen the episode of South Park where Cartman is he gets into a fight with somebody and they end up just like popping him on the nose and he goes off crying? I think that's what would happen. 100%. I don't think Elon Musk can take a punch. Apparently he's been training with Andrew Tate. In news that everyone saw coming, Sound of Freedom fan arrested for kidnapping after donating to anti-trafficking film. One of the nearly 7,000 people who gave money to the unexpected summer blockbuster Sound of Freedom was arrested last month on kidnapping charges. Missouri native Fabian Marta was picked up by police on July 21st and charged 2 days later with felony child kidnapping. Marta, 51, was the landlord to a woman and child who were involved in a custody dispute with the woman's aunt. Marta's attorney, Scott Rosenblum, told the Post that his client will plead not guilty at his August 28th hearing. The charges are ill-conceived, Rosenblum told the Post. He had nothing to do with kidnapping anyone. Rosenblum said that he also fully expects his client to be acquitted. According to Angel Studios, the film's distributor, they had no knowledge of Marta's background. They do, however, have knowledge of Tim Ballard's background, and that is why he is no longer with the organization. If you don't like the darker side of the news, I know, as if everything that we're doing here isn't dark as fuck. If you don't like some of the more horrific stories that we do, give us about 10 minutes and come back to the stream. We're going to be doing the streamer giveaway, video of Logan Paul getting into it with a fan. NASCAR driver got suspended for liking a George Floyd meme. We're going to make fun of some influencers. And Mr. T is going to give away some shoes. So really good shit coming up. But we got to do some not fun shit for the next 10 minutes. So, content warning. It's just another day in mass shooting USA. This time in Southeast Washington, D.C., where apparently Trump can't get a fair trial.
We begin tonight with breaking and disturbing news out of Southeast D.C.
That's what I like. My numbers went up when I said oh hey, it's horrific shit. My numbers went up. You sick fucks.
See, 3 people are dead and 2 others injured following another shooting. This happened just a couple of hours ago on Good Hope Road and 16th Street. Our Leslie Moreno is there at the scene and just spoke with Police Chief. Leslie, what have you learned?
Casey, a very violent night here in Southeast D.C. Like you mentioned, 5 people were shot. 3 of those are dead. The 2 other victims were rushed to the hospital. One of those victims is still in the hospital in critical condition. I want you to take a look at the scene here. This is what we're dealing with right now, a huge police presence here. I don't know if you can see, but we've counted at least about 82 evidence markers here. So as you can see, a huge area is taped off as police and detectives investigate here. Like I mentioned,
So I'm assuming some kind of semi-automatic weapon.
MPD's new police chief says it's
A lot of shell casings.
how this happened or what exactly.
PP girl, good evening.
We are here again tonight on the scene of another senseless act of violence. Let me be clear. This gun violence has to stop. It is incredibly frustrating. We know that someone in the community knows what is happening. Please reach out and provide us with any information that we can in order to ensure that our citizens, our residents are safe in their communities.
In this mass shooting, now what we know is 5 people were shot.
And we're told several resources are being called here to assist with this investigation. We're told no arrests have been made. Officials were not able to provide any information on any of the shooter or the shooters or the suspects, but police again are asking that if anyone has any information on what happened here, you call detectives, you call police right away. Casey?
And like you pointed out there, Leslie, it looks like so many shots were fired. Hopefully someone who saw something, heard something, will now say something. Leslie Moreno, thank you so much. This is the second shooting with multiple victims in less than 24 hours in D.C. 3 people were shot in Adams Morgan around 1 o'clock this morning. It happened just about a block from the popular Line Hotel at the intersection of Euclid and Ontario. 2 men died. A third is said to be fighting for his life in the hospital.
Damn. Oh. Yeah, we don't give a shit about Beyonce being canceled wherever the fuck she's playing. Apparently they don't even have a suspect at the moment, it seems. A lot of shell casings on the ground. Once again, this is a horrific story. Content warning for torture, sexual abuse, kidnapping. A hostage escaped from a basement dungeon. We actually have a former roommate of the suspect in this case reacting. Let's get the details.
We are learning some new information after the man was taken into custody, accused of kidnapping a woman in Seattle, driving her to Oregon, and trapping her in a cinder block cell. Investigators say the victim was able to escape from that cell, scale a fence, and get to a nearby road where she flagged down a driver. That suspect seen right there on your screen, identified by the FBI as 29-year-old Nagasi Zuberi, but one of that suspect's former roommates knew him by a different name. That roommate, James Dunn, joining us now live to talk more about all of this. Thank you so much for taking the time to be here.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. So first off, just kind of tell me about this guy, what he was like as a roommate, and who he was, really.
I didn't necessarily know much about him. His life was, fairly secretive from the time, 8 months that I lived in Vancouver with him. I met him originally through Facebook Marketplace. I had taken a promotion that was down in Portland, so I needed a place to stay. And, nothing really raised any red flags, at first, other than he just wanted someone that was going to pay the rent and kind of keep to themselves. And that, sounded fair. And I've dealt with, similar situations, but nothing like this where, it's ended up being, such, I'm shocked. This is something that I wouldn't even be able to imagine someone be able to do.
And that's what I was going to ask is, how did you find out what had happened, these allegations? And when you hear that about a guy that you lived with, What are you thinking?
So my former roommate had reached out to me, and he kind of let me know, hey, this is going on. Have you heard about it? I was in shock. I couldn't necessarily even, fathom, thinking about this kind of thing, and that it would just, this is something that happens. It's something that you see out of a horror movie.
Have police been in contact with you at all about this so far? I know that they are looking for other possible victims, so they're speaking to people kind of all across the country. Have you been in touch with police?
No, I haven't.
Have you thought about reaching out to them, or are you hoping that they're possibly going to see something like this and reach out to you?
If they feel that they need to reach out to me, I'm happy to provide.
Doesn't really seem like he has a lot of information.
What was he like as a roommate? Because you said you didn't really know him too well. Anything at all that kind of stands out to you when you think back and you realize this is the guy that you were living with? Is there anything that kind of sticks out to you?
Go in his basement?
He was constantly gone within night hours. I wasn't necessarily sure what he did for, a full-time job. We were all paying the rent on this place. And from my understanding, he had painted the picture that he was a property manager. He had multiple properties throughout the country, and that's essentially how, in his words, he achieved financial freedom. And I was like, that's cool. That seems like a lot.
He's a landlord. Fuck this dude.
So I kind of just took it as that, and I was like, all right, you're gone at night, you do your own thing. But never would I have imagined that this was the kind of person he was.
Does it make you almost think twice about using, let's say, Facebook Marketplace or something of that nature to find a roommate? Does it make you, I guess, kind of second guess that at all?
Absolutely. You've heard about the Craigslist killer, and that's, a very common, reason not to, go online. But I feel like this should just serve as, you should definitely do more research into who you're moving in with and, take precautions to know, where you're going. Because, like I said, from what I was able to find out about him, he seemed like a normal guy. There was no, immediate red flags, other than he wanted to keep to himself. He was always gone and just doing his own thing.
Gotcha. Well, James Dunn, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you, James.
To join us here. As you think back to what the last...
Those pictures of the basement are chilling. While we're on the subject of crime, here's a story I found interesting, and no one is going to be surprised or shocked by the headline I'm getting ready to read. Every reported case where police mistakenly arrested someone using facial recognition, that person has been black. All 6 known reports of false arrests due to facial recognition technology were made by black people. I figured it was more than 6. 6 is kind of a low number, but still, all 6 have been black. As activists have warned for several years, facial recognition technology and AI can exacerbate racial inequality in policing. The photos to the... I can give you the... I don't know if the photos are in the story. They're in the video. They might be inside just the news story. But boom. It's in the Discord, and here you go. It's in the chat. All 6 known reports of false arrests due to facial recognition made by black people, as activists have warned for several years. Facial recognition technology and AI can exacerbate racial inequality in policing. Several police departments across the country use the technology, with Baltimore police running over 800 searches last year. And Baltimore police, my God, one of the most corrupt police departments in the country. But there's also the LA County Police Department, there's the Louisville Police Department, there's the NYPD, there's I can go on and on with corrupt police departments. We here on the stream do not encourage illegal behavior. I want to make that very clear. Me as a streamer, JustinFREAKIN, encourages no illegal behavior. Make that very, very clear. If I were to ever do any kind of a thing like run a contest on the stream, I want to make sure that there is no illegal behavior. Like what happened Friday?
Seemingly out of nowhere this afternoon, Union Square disintegrated into pandemonium. A spontaneous mosh pit of violence and fighting, with top police brass under attack by thousands of people, many of them preteens who mobbed innocent New Yorkers just trying to pass by.
And the only thing I could think about was trying to keep my daughter safe.
Jaylene took cover with her 1-year-old in an ATM lobby as she watched a police officer get sucked into the crowd.
He ended up getting beaten and jumped by, I want to say, over like 10 people.
Every available officer was commanded to rush to the scene to restore order, as members of the crowd raided a construction site in the middle of the square and vaulted 1 million projectiles at each other and police.
They apparently fucked up some cops.
Cops racked up so many arrests they filled 3 city buses with prisoners.
Freeze all that!
And frantically worked to clear a route to back those buses out of the mayhem.
I had thousands of kids out there. I needed thousands of parents out there.
All those kids had been summoned to Union Square Park by a social media influencer named Kai Cenat, who has 20 million followers online. He told them he'd hand out gaming consoles. Police saw his initial post and sent officers to monitor a group that at first numbered just 300. But then the post went viral. 300 became at least 3,000.
This is a group of young people, and we had to be very, very delicate in how we handled this. All right, we wanted the kids to just comply with us and leave, but we were met with a lot of resistance. We were attacked. My older brother just called and told me he saw a video of me getting hit.
I have no idea.
Coming here, if we knew about this,
that's what people will do for PS5.
We could have did this orderly. They could have gave whatever gifts they had for the young people away.
Eventually, police managed to convince the influencer to leave the crowd. He sped away through city streets with loyal followers clinging to the outside of his Escalade and falling off one by one.
Wow!
Drama. For, it seems, absolutely nothing.
Get that camera on my face, bro. Back with a new video. It's one thing to just come and try and support him, but to come and make a mess of not just the city, but of just other pedestrians like me that are just trying to get by and go throughout their day. It's just, there's no consideration, and it's ridiculous, honestly.
Oh, pee-pee girl. Oh, did you do that on purpose? I'm a Sony loyalist. My PS5 controller. I didn't get it when it first came out. Because it came out like October, November, whatever it was of COVID year. And I was like, well, I'll wait until after Christmas, and then it will be able, like, everybody can get one, all right? Like, it won't be a big deal. I don't want to have to fight to get one. Holy shit, it was still a fight to get one. I got it in like March of the next year. I mean, I finished off Final Fantasy 16 the other day. I played Resident Evil 8 on... Resident Evil 8 was the first game I played on PS5. Let me think. All the PS5 games I played. Immortals, Phoenix Rising. I played Days Gone because it was unlocked for the PS5. I played God of War again. What all have I played? I played Watch Dogs Legion because it was a PS5 game. Because there isn't a lot. There isn't a lot. Final Fantasy 16 was fucking awesome though. And that's one of the main, like, I'm a Final Fantasy fan. I like action adventure RPGs, single player action adventure RPGs. Man, I like to. I can't do the Yakuza 7. Okay, so I have been playing through the Yakuza series at Christmas because a lot of them are set at Christmas. So I'll play number 4 this year. I'm on number 4. I'm not up to Yakuza 7. Is there a 7? There's like 6 and then like a dragon, right? Is there a 7? There's 6, 0, and then like a dragon. But I love the Yakuza games. And I was let down by 3 for like, well, I almost didn't finish it, but boy, am I glad I did. Because like, he goes to he has this orphanage on an island, and you're just doing shit for the kids. Yeah, like, this is so boring. But you get to know the kids and everything. So when spoiler alert. So when like the end of the game comes and the Yakuza are gonna kill the kids, like it's like fucking, it's on. You gonna fuck with my kid? Like, I was so into the end of that game. I'm like, you got me. I'm so glad I finished it. So I'm a big turn-based RPG fan. So I'm old school Final Fantasy. Matter of fact, I just finished Final Fantasy 16, and then I started playing Ni no Kuni. That's a PS3 era game. I've got the 4K remaster. I'm not high enough for this shit. I gotta pack a bowl. And it's a turn-based RPG, and I'm having so much fun with it. It's so fucking good. God damn, I love this game. It's scratching the itch. Like, I liked Final Fantasy 16, don't get me wrong. But like the old school cutesy graphics and shit, it's so well written. Oh, you hate turn-based? I fucking dig it. Like I like having a big party and everybody's got different abilities, and I like a complex battle system like that. It's got a lot of depth. That's what 16 was missing. Like you don't even like get a cast protect on yourself or anything. There's not a lot of like different elementals and shit like that. Oh my god. Piss me off. You guys got me on video games. Oh, I have both, Richard. I have Remnant Kingdom and I'm a hoarder of video games. I told my buddy this the other day. I was like, I have so many games that I will never play all of these games before I die. I have like hundreds that I constantly looking at the sales on the PlayStation Store and just buying shit that I want to play. I've got a bunch of shit on my favorites list. If I watch a video on YouTube and they're like, "Oh, this game was a masterpiece and unsung," I'll fucking go pick it up. I have Battle for Bikini Bottom, and I've almost played it several times. I'm going to. Well, not Steam sales. I'm a PlayStation guy. I have a Steam account and everything. I've got a few things for Steam. Right now, Far Cry 6 is like $14, and I will probably get it and play it next. But I've never played all the and that's another thing, right? So I grew up poor, so there's like a lot of games I never got to play and shit. So I've been going back and playing a lot of it because there's a lot of remasters and shit. Love that shit. Give me a remaster of old shit that I didn't get to play. I never played any of the Devil May Cry games. So, I'm gonna go. I want to play those for like Halloween time this year, because I think they're all like 10, 12-hour games. Battle Opossum. Because, like, Devil May Cry 5 is unlocked for the PS5 and shit. So, let's see. I've already got all 5 of them. I'll go back and play them eventually. Exactly. PP Girl, I'm there with you. I always... the remasters for me is like, you know, catching shit that I didn't play the first time, right? And then, like, I don't like tank controls. So I never played Resident Evil. I never played, like, the early ones. So having the remasters or the remakes of them, holy shit, I love 2. Yeah, play through those Resident Evils. It took me a while to get through 1 because I wasn't really into it, but goddamn, 2 was awesome. I couldn't put that motherfucker down. And then I liked the remake of 3 too, but it was really short. The remake of 3 also. All right, you guys got me off topic. Let's go back to the news. Oh! Battle Opossum. So, Logan Paul versus Ricochet. That opened the show last night on WWE SummerSlam. But later in the night... What's the other one? Aaron Paul? No, that's Breaking Bad dude. Who? Harris Paul? Who's the other Paul brother? Jake Paul. Jake Paul fought Nate Diaz. Apparently, Logan got into it with some fans out in the crowd. Holy shit. Wait, he's still got his wrestling outfit. He's got his, like, elbow pads and shit on still. I think. Really hard to tell what happened. Man, did a brawl broke out. Logan Paul got into it with a fan ringside. Logan Paul had himself a very busy Saturday night shortly after defeating Ricochet. The eldest of the Paul brothers jumped on a private jet to Dallas, Texas to see his brother Jake take on Nate Diaz in a 10-round boxing match. Motherfucker, fight a boxer. But while his brother was... Or fucking fight Nate Diaz in an MMA fucking... fight him in the octagon. But while his brother was busy handling business inside the ring, Logan was ready to throw hands in the stands. Indeed, Paul, who was still in his WWE attire, was caught on camera having words with an unruly fan inside American Airlines Center. Soon thereafter, the conversation turned physical with both parties, proceeded to pushing and shoving before security and police officers intervened. As for Jake, he went on to win a unanimous decision over Diaz in what turned out to be a rather entertaining boxing match. Afterward, Paul once again laid down the gauntlet and challenged Diaz to a $10 million mixed martial arts fight. Wait, he did challenge him to an MMA fight? Okay, so now we'll get Nate Diaz, or Nick Diaz. No, Nate. Nate's the one that fought. So furthermore, Nick Diaz, Nate's older brother, came to the rescue himself and challenged Jake to a boxing match in an attempt to avenge his younger sibling. How about we take it all to the WWE and we have Jake and Logan take on Nick and Nate in a tag team match? That's money. Book it. We're doing sports tonight. You don't often get a lot of sports on the Troll Patrol. We're We're mainly a political show, but we do a little sports. You want some NASCAR news? NASCAR's Noah Gragson suspended indefinitely after liking a George Floyd meme. Now, I don't know if I think the motherfucker should be suspended indefinitely. Noah Gragson's getting taken out of the driver's seat after liking a meme, just for liking a meme that mocked George Floyd, and he's owning up to the fact that he screwed the pooch. The race car driver, who competes professionally for NASCAR's Cup Series, was suspended indefinitely on Saturday by his stock car team, Legacy Motor Club, which announced he was being benched just a day before the Firekeepers Casino 400 at Michigan International Speedway, in which Gregson was supposed to participate. So that is the meme. The thing that if I was this race car driver, the thing that I would be incredibly disappointed about was how shitty this meme was. It's not even fucking funny, dude. You're gonna lose your fucking... And if you might be listening to the audio of this, is a picture of a crab with George Floyd's face, and it says, under the knee, under the knee. It is such a shit, like, it probably originated in a shit posting group that was just meant to, like, be a shit post. I can't believe people would actually, like, fucking share this shit out. But I don't think the dude should be suspended for liking it. Under the knee, under the knee. I tried to come up with some lyrics. When life is sweet to... I don't fucking remember the words. I don't remember the original words. I can't even come up with fake words. A double racism. Yes, me doing a bad Jamaican accent. Yes. Gregson wrote, I am disappointed in myself for my lack of attention and actions on social media. I understand the severity of the situation. I love and appreciate everyone. I try to treat everyone equally, no matter who they are. I messed up, plain and simple. I don't think you do, dude. I don't think you do. And I'm just going to point out what this dude looks like. He's got a pretty sweet mullet. He kind of looks like Morgan Wallen. So, you know, checks out. NASCAR takes that shit seriously. Like, they will ban you if you bring a Confederate flag. Content warning for transphobia. Unfortunately, and content warning for having to see Bill Maher's fucking smarmy face. Apparently, Leah Thomas has a really nice girl dick.
Forget what the original question was, but I think it's describe that.
I was trying to run away from this question. Okay, 6'4" male.
Yeah, but
use
that
your
doesn't...
imagination.
My God. Someone else's genitalia shouldn't be the topic of conversation on your fucking podcast. That you're doing it for fucking clicks and views. She's a fucking charlatan that's been going around fucking TP USA.
You know, that was a situation I tried to refrain from looking at entirely. Naturally, we all did.
You can't unsee it. You saw
We
it.
can unsee it. I mean, being in that space with a male, it's like a bad car wreck.
Yes, Gaines tied against Thomas for 5th place. And apparently, like, fucking the tiebreaker went to Leah somehow. Like, I don't know what the criteria is for the tiebreaker. She tied with Thomas for 5th place. And she's upset about it. She's become a darling of right-wing media. Going on with Tucker Carlson, going on tour with TPUSA, because she is mediocre and doesn't have any other career prospects. Have you ever heard of somebody getting too intoxicated on water? Water intoxication is a thing, and apparently it's fatal. Water intoxication is something you need to be aware of.
Cover story and a warning about water toxicity after a woman died after drinking too much water too fast. This morning, we're hearing from her family, and Ariel Reshef has the story. Good morning, Ariel.
Good morning to you, Rebecca. The family says the mother of two was feeling dehydrated, so she did what seemed so logical. She drank a large amount of water, trying to replenish her system, but that ended in tragedy, and now they want everyone to know the signs.
Now I feel really weird because there's been plenty of times that, I'm going to try to flush my system with water after smoking pot for a drug test.
This morning, the family of 35-year-old mother of two, Ashley Summers, speaking out to warn others after she passed away over the 4th of July weekend from what doctors told them was water intoxication.
At one point during the day, she started getting a bad headache. So she was drinking a lot of water.
Ashley's brother saying she was spending the holiday at the lake with her family when she started to feel intensely dehydrated. So she drank the equivalent of 4 16-ounce bottles of water in just 20 minutes. That's the amount doctors say an average adult woman should consume in an entire day.
She felt dizzy and had this headache. They got home. She walked across the garage to go into the house, and she passed out in the garage.
Water intoxication is a rare but dangerous condition caused by drinking too much water too fast, which upsets the electrolyte balance in the body. It can present with confusion, disorientation, nausea, and vomiting. Doctors say early detection is key.
The general recommendation is, 2 liters of water per day on average per person, and that's throughout the day. But you also don't want to consume more than 1 liter per hour.
Ashley's family now trying to turn her sudden and tragic loss into a life-saving lesson.
If she would have spaced out her water consumption, she probably would be alive today.
Thinking of that family, and this truly could be life-saving. So again, water intoxication is rare, but doctors say avoid drinking more than a liter per hour. That's about 2 standard 16.9 ounces of water like this one. You want to spread that water intake throughout the day, guys.
Yeah, but she did it in 20 minutes. Like, it's insane. And I drink a lot. You see me, like, fucking constantly have a beverage in my hand on this very stream. Constantly. She was probably thirsty. Thank you, Libertad. Oh. She died from too much water. This woman died from not getting enough protein and shit. Vegan raw food influencer died of starvation and exhaustion. The influencer's mother attributes the daughter's death to cholera-like infection. Vegan raw food influencer Zana Dart has died at the age of 39. Friends and family of the Russian food influencer, whose real name was Zana Samazorna, were quoted as saying by Newsflash that she died of starvation and exhaustion after subsisting exclusively on a completely raw vegan diet in Malaysia. For the past 4 years, Miss Samsonova ate raw vegan food with just fruits, sunflower seeds, sprouts, fruit smoothies, and juices, her mother said. That sounds horrible. The influencer's mother attributed her daughter's death to a cholera-like infection. The official cause for Miss Samanasama's death has not been revealed. The influencer was on a tour of Southeast Asia when she died in Malaysia on the 21st of July. One of Miss Samsonova's friends revealed that the influencer looked exhausted with swollen legs, oozing lymph when she met her in Sri Lanka. So that's what she looked like. That's the best she's looking in any of the pictures I've seen. She looked completely malnourished. Goddamn, give it up. Yeah, she looks, decently nourished in these pictures. Hold on, I do believe that there's a video associated with it. See if we can see some of these other shots of her looking completely malnourished. Well, this looks like it's just her. Some of the food she was eating. Get me demonetized on YouTube. That didn't show us anything about her. That's just her food. Damn it. Yeah, that's the picture where she ain't looking too good. Look at that. Ma'am. You need to eat a Twinkie. You need some fat on your body. Well, I mean, you ain't doing shit now because you dead. I thought Charlotte Flair looked emaciated last night. Like, she didn't look like she had been training very hard. Hadn't eaten very well. But who knows? Maybe I wasn't seeing correctly. Perhaps my eyes were tattooed. That was a horrible segue. I went blind after tattooing my eyeballs, but I have no regrets and won't stop. This is according to Australia's most tattooed woman, an extreme body modification addict who has spent more than $280,000 on her work. An extreme body modification addict who went blind because of her obsession with tattoos and piercings says she has no regrets. So this is Amber. Tattooed her eyes. Oh, she did the tongue thing too. Oh, God. Like, I'm not gonna shame you. Do what you want. Your body's a canvas. I'm totally cool with however you want to look, but like, oh, I couldn't imagine doing that. Tattooing your eyes. I couldn't do the tongue thing. I couldn't, like, gives me the willies. Went blind from tattooing her eyes. At least it was only temporary. Let's do some good news. Let's watch a legend being a badass. Mr. T. Pities the Shoeless.
You know, you gotta pity the fool that doesn't have proper footwear. Take a look. That is Mr. T. Chicago area legend Mr. T did not say that. We should be very forthright about that. But that was the general sentiment of a shoe giveaway attended by the iconic actor at the Cosmopolitan Community Church on the city's south side today.
We want to inspire the kids to get them back to school. You know, let them know school is fun. Learning is fun. You know, learning is special. You know, so that's what we're about, to inspire them, motivate them, let them know that this community, we care about them. You know, and the kid learn better when he have some new stuff.
Amen to that, T. Skechers, Design Shoe Warehouse, and the local nonprofit The Support Group all teamed up to supply those shoes for students of the Beasley Academic Center. Great kicks to kick off the school year. Always great to see Mr. T.
Fuck yeah, Mr. T. I need work. Mr. T need work. I need work, fool. A puppy got loose on a highway, and this happened in Philadelphia. Police had to chase a dog down I-95 in Philadelphia, but the dog is now safe. To be clear, the dog is now safe. Look at that puppy. Him scared. This happened on Friday morning in Philadelphia. The dog was struck by a large truck. Oh. But he kept running afterwards. Oh, baby. They're just trying to help you. Oh. Oh, sweet baby. So he went to a pet care center to be checked out. And he is safe and sound. I did read that. Oh, sweet baby. Go ahead, light one up, tip one back. It's all right to have a little fun before you hit the sack. I'm JustinFREAKIN. We'll see you tomorrow night on the Troll Patrol. Live.